friends! Welcome back to Emily Finally Reads all of her books. This week we're talking about Legally Blonde. I originally recorded this intro, but then my camera decided to freak out and deleted the video that I'd recorded, so you gotta deal with this slightly less good appearance, and then it'll quickly jump to my slightly better appearance. So Legally Blonde is a book that I read, and honestly, as someone who grew up watching the movie and then ended up working in theater, so I got to work on a production of the musical, it's honestly really hard not to compare it. If you've only seen the movie and just haven't read the book, you're honestly not missing too much. There's a few more characters and they talk about the different cliques and their different relationships around Stanford Law, not Harvard. But other than that, it's really not much of anything that you're missing. The main differences are a good handful of name changes for seemingly no reason. They mush together a bunch of the different characters so they fill several different roles, and Professor Callahan isn't a character, so Elle never has her, oh woe is me, I'm not a good lawyer, I'm not talented moment. But that's not the point of this video. That video is coming. But let's talk about the actual book. We meet Elle Woods, who is a beautiful young woman set to graduate from USC. She has a 4.0 GPA, she has amazing friends, she has a wonderful boyfriend, and you'd think that all is going well for her. She thinks that Warner, her boyfriend, is about to propose on a date on their 3rd anniversary, when he ends up dumping her. Warner claims he needs someone more serious as he's moving forward with his life, and he points to his parents' high expectations for him. And then he tells her that he's very soon going to be leaving to go study law up in Stanford. Alright, back to original Emily. Ever the optimist, Elle studies super hard and ends up getting a perfect score on the LSAT, super cash, and she ends up going to Stanford Law as well to follow him there. She's super excited to reunite with Warner, but then finds out that after 3 months, Warner has been able to get over her and get engaged to someone else named Sarah Nottingham, not Vivian Kensington. 3 months? She's either a rebound or he must just got off his mission or something. Then more bad news. During the freshman orientation, the dean starts pointing out some of the great diversity that Stanford Law has been able to accept this semester, including 2 surgeons, a Rhodes Scholar, a Harvard English professor, a cellist from the Boston Symphony Orchestra, 2 Pulitzer Prize winners, and a mechanical engineer who held 26 patents. Oh my gosh! And then the dean says, "And now, ladies and gentlemen, what class would be complete without a sorority president? Miss Elle Woods also has the distinction of being, among thousands of applicants, our only homecoming queen." I honestly cannot imagine being openly ridiculed like that. At least in the movie and in the musical, that sort of faux multiculturalism is just done in private and not actually to her face. With this horrible start, you'd think that maybe things will get better for Elle, but no. Her professors disrespect her in class, her classmates bully her, and she's even kicked out of her dorm for keeping her animal. Although that one does make more sense. She did sign a contract saying she wasn't going to do that. Luckily, she's able to make friends with a classmate named Eugenia, and is even able to get outlines from some secret admirer. And don't worry too much about trying to figure out who the secret admirer is. It turns out to be some rando she met at the bookstore at the beginning of the book. Okay, cool. With Eugenia and the outlines' help, Elle is able to pass all of her classes. Warner, on the other hand, is not as lucky. In their first friendly interaction of the entire book, Sarah asks Elle for advice on how to help Warner since they dated for so long, and Elle actually gives her honest advice. Meanwhile, a big hotshot LA lawyer named Miles is looking for some interns to help him on a new case coming up. A woman named Brooke Vandermark is accused of killing her super crazy old husband. Elle signs up for an interview, even choosing to miss out on Aspen for Christmas in order to meet the lawyer. She then promptly asks Miles out for dinner. Honestly, what an icon. On their date, we get a bunch of exposition about Brooke and her history and why they think she might have killed her husband. And wouldn't you know it, Elle immediately guesses the daughter Chutney actually killed him. Honestly, we stan a psychic icon. Elle and Brooke become very fast friends, and we get a decent amount of actual lawyering. We go to all the depositions, we look up a bunch of lawyering laws about wills and everything. It's kind of boring. And we get to the final dramatic court scene. All the witnesses are giving their experiences with Brooke and how they actually hate her personally. The judge ends up drawing a line with the prosecutor saying that Chutney's cat's vet doesn't really have a place in testifying. Chutney takes the stand and gives her alibi, which was getting a perm by her favorite stylist. Elle makes the connection and immediately jumps up in the middle of court, and she asks Miles and the judge if she may be able to question Chutney. Chutney's alibi falls apart, and then she admits on the stand that not only did she kill her father, she was trying to actually shoot Brooke. The case is then dismissed, and Miles admits to being very proud of Elle and the choices that she was able to make. And then Elle, in turn, officially dumps Warner when he tries to win her back. "But Elle, we've spent so many years together," he protested. "You'll never find anyone like me again." "I certainly hope not," Elle answered genuinely. Icon. Brooke and Elle have a mini celebration together at Elle's place, and Sarah even stops by to officially bury the hatchet and make up, and the two of them promise to have a great Stanford experience together. And that's how it ends. It's very cute, and it is very much, as People magazine put it, a feel-good girl power comedy. Kinda. Let's give some opinions. Like I said before, I grew up watching the movie a lot when I was younger, and maybe it's because of that, but I just prefer the movie to the book. Elle has a much more dramatic rise and then fall in her character arc, plus we get that flash forward at the very end to see how she's doing. Here's a bit of a hot take that I'll expand on a bit more in my adaptation comparison video, but I honestly don't really think this story to be very feminist. Sure, we have a female-led romp where she ends up on top, but it just isn't very feminist. Every single time we're introduced to another female character, we get a full description of how they look physically. That may be a bit of the trope within the sort of rom-com genre of fiction, but every female professor that Elle has, she doesn't respect, and she refers to them by their first name within her internal monologue. And then we have our very own self-proclaimed feminist named Fran, who we first see at a bra burning stand. "Bra burning is a political statement," the gender warrior exploded. "Liberate women from the dominance of male-imposed body image force-fed by capitalists. Boycott the Wonder Bra." All perfectly valid points, but it's not very valid to have them coming from a mouth of an obvious straw man of a character. I suppose one good feminist thing is that it passes the Bechdel test on the very first page. They are talking about boob implants, but it's something. One thing of note that I'm not entirely sure if I like it or not just yet is that Elle isn't totally over Warner until very near towards the end, like chapter 42 out of 47. Up until that point, she is trying as much as she can to see him and to talk to him and have any chance to interact with him, really. And honestly, I kind of get that. If I had been with someone for 3 years expecting them to propose, it would take much more than like a sudden flip of the switch in the brain to really get over them. And another thing, even though Elle and Sarah have several moments where they are helping one another or they're being kind to one another throughout the book, there is some level of animosity between the two of them. And that's fairly realistic too. No one becomes friends at the drop of a hat. So, same questions I asked last time. Did I like it? Meh. Would I read it again? I mean, probably. Like, bring it for like a vacation or something, read it on the plane or something. It's not like deep, hard-hitting fiction, but it's enjoyable, so back on the shelf it goes. Okay, my next book. I've written down all of my books on little slips of paper, put them in this little vase, and we're gonna pick one out. I'm not looking. I have a big hand. We are reading Witches, the book by Roald Dahl. Much shorter read, much easier read. I shall very likely have it finished within like 3 days. Why so quickly, you ask? Well, my husband Darius has recently been in contact with someone who has tested positive for coronavirus. So we are 100% in quarantine now. We get tested on Monday, and today is Thursday. How exciting. I still need to figure out what I'm going to do for an outro, but for now, bye! His parents, more bad moves. In their first friendly, we stan a psychotic, oh my gosh, Chutney killed to not only killing her father, but trying to, okay, self-proclaimed from points to his parents, high expectation, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at talking.